Okay, today I am making homemade egg noodles. I had got a noodle machine. You can see it maybe over there on the end. I've got it set up. I'm going to get me noodles made up and put in the freezer for this winter's soups. I'm going to use the food processor instead of doing this all by hand. I've got 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm using King Arthur. 1 teaspoon of sea salt and 6 eggs, and that is a double batch. So I'm going to get this pulsed up and get it down on my mat and get it all kneaded, and I think it has to rest like 5 minutes. Cut them into sections, and then I'm going to give that machine over there a test because I have never used it, so you're going to learn when I do. Okay, so here's another thing. Since it was my first time, I thought, well, since my food processor was big enough, I'll do a double batch. Stick with a single batch. I still had to end up getting it out here and using elbow grease to get this done. The food processor, it was just too much for my food processor anyway. So if you want to do a single batch, I think it would do all right, but I can just hear my grandma in my ear saying, you should have done it by hand. That's how it's supposed to be done. But anyway, I did end up doing it by hand. Now it's going to rest for, I think 5 minutes is what egg noodles is. Just let the dough rest. And then we're going to cut it up into sections and kind of flatten it out, and then we got to start the process on the machine. Okay, it's set. I'm just going to take, actually this is my pizza cutter. Anything will work. Knife, a pizza roller. I just have this and I thought, well, it'll work for what I need. So I gotta cut it into sections. This one will be all right, and that one. Probably cut that one a little bit littler. This one's in the center. Those are all right. Okay. So, supposed to just get them coated with a little bit of flour and make them flat. And then this is the first time I'm using that, so it said the first time you use it, you take a little piece of dough, which I think I'm going to take this one because it's littler, and you run it through and then you discard it. So I think I'm going to give that a try, and then I'll get back to you when we're ready to get rolling. Okay, I got the first little one done, rolled it through and then discarded it. So now I've got a damp towel. I just sprinkled it with water, and you're supposed to pour it over. My hands was very clean. Put it over your dough so it don't dry, and only take out what you need as you're rolling it. So we're gonna go over there and get going on rolling this out and see how it looks. Okay, here it is, and what we're gonna do is got to adjust it to the thickest it will go, and then you start rolling it. If you try to do it real thin right off the bat, the recommendation says that it could, or the instructions says it will jam up or could break your machine. So you just keep slowly making it more narrow so your dough will get thinner. So I'm gonna go again. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it, get it back up again, and then I'm gonna run it through again, get them smoother. All right, I don't want these real thin. I'm gonna go get a little bit of flour and put on it to keep it it from getting so sticky. Because we like a little bit chunkier egg noodle. So since I'm ready with the thickness, you take the handle out here. If I can find this on Amazon, I'll link it. And then you just put it in the top. Don't know really which one I want to use here. I think I'll try this one. Just to see what it does. Okay. So now I got like a fettuccine noodle, which is perfect. That's about what we like in soups. And it's so much easier than doing them by hand. Sorry, Grandma. Anyway, I'm going to do a few more, and I've got a drying rack that I bought too. It recommended to buy a drying rack right there. So I'm going to put them on there and let them dry. It says for up to 2 hours. And then you can put them in bags and freeze them, and they're supposed to last up to 6 months in the freezer, which these are for winter soup, so that's going to work just fine. So I'm going to do a few more. I'll bring you back, show you my progress, and I think this is really going to be nice for me. finding is whenever I cut these into noodles, just with using it, let me get the handle out here. Put it up here for the noodle one. Now run it through for the noodles, which is easy peasy, no problem. But by the time I get it over to my other side of my cabinet, they're sticking together. So I've got this plate here with just some flour in it, and that should help, because see, it's already wanting to dough ball up. You don't want to mess them up. You end up with a big glob. So just be really careful pulling them apart. And then when I get them over to the rack, I'll just hang them on there. But yeah, I've been having to do this. It helps with the sticking. Yeah, I'm loving them. I'm almost done with the dough balls, and then we'll be getting them onto the rack, and then they've got to dry for I think like 2 hours before I can package them up and put them in the freezer. So I'm gonna get the rest of these done. Okay, I'm finishing up putting these on the drying rack. This is my last round that I ran through the machine. This rack is nice. Now once I get this loaded, it'll have to set for up to 2 hours, because you want them to get dry. I don't know if you need them 100%, but you need it to where when you put them in the bags for the freezer, that they're not going to clump into one big clump when you're trying to use them for cooking. So they do need to be loose. But yeah, this rack was recommended. I actually seen, I think it's the same machine, I'm not for sure, that Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead uses. That's how it got me thinking, wow, I wouldn't have to do that all by hand. I mean, it's a good thing to know how to do it by hand. Thank you, Grandma, again. But this here is much faster. And it don't take up all your counter space whenever you're laying them all out to dry. So I'm going to run out of room here, so I will have to lay out a little bit, but it won't be much. Probably just lay them on this mat right here since it's already flour covered. They'll dry pretty fast. But yeah, that's pretty nice. I don't know how many bags this will actually make. I may have to do this a couple more times to get enough in the freezer for all winter. We like noodles and dumplings and Ripley's and just about everything that we do. We love them in beans. We love them in vegetable soup. I like making chicken Ripley soup. So this will make it so much more handier to have them on hands than to have to. Of course, Ripley's is easy. But that's for in a pinch and you need something fast. Ripley's is really good. But if I had these, it'd be good for soups. So anyway, when these get done drying, I'll show you what they look like packaged up, but that's about it. They're already drying and getting stiff just from the first round I did. I have my noodles drying out, trying to get my freezer full for the winter.